Hello there, my fabulous fragrant dragon family. My name is Ariel, I am the Sassy Dragon, and today we are going to be smelling and talking about the brand new Kayali fragrance release, which would be the Yum Pistachio Gelato number 33. Comes in this beautiful kind of light seafoam green box. I wore my green just for the occasion. I've been playing around with this one the last week or so. I really do like it, and I have a lot of thoughts about it, as you may guess. Thank you all so much for me reaching over 500 subscribers this week. That's very exciting, and I really do appreciate all your input. On the back of this box, it has listed these notes: pistachio gelato, hazelnut, sweet rum, whipped cream, marshmallow, cotton candy. From the outset, you would think this is going to be a super sugary bomb. I didn't find it to be quite that much of a sugar bomb, though. It is sweet, but it's not sweet in the way that a lot of people might be led to think. So as always, I love the box. Love the way they do their boxes. The way that comes off is shaped so nice. And then, of course, the bottle is exactly the same as their other bottles. It's just that very sleek, simple design. This one is very pretty. It has a nice feel to it. It's kind of a semi-translucent frosted glass in the same kind of seafoam celadon green color. Has an opaque white top that almost feels like it's made of a resin or almost a ceramic quality, which is really cool. I like the atomizer because it does have a very soft spray as it comes out. You can really control how much or how little you spray of it because of that. It doesn't just come out in a big burst. So I really like the atomizer on this one. When you first get a sniff of it, there is a fresh green quality about it that is really inexplicable, because when you read the notes, you may not think that that's going to come through, but I think for me what this is a combination. I really, when I smell this, I was like, wow, that's got some nice, bright, fresh, juicy, almost green bergamot in this. And lo and behold, when I read the notes, yes, it does. Top notes are pistachio, which of course is the name of the of the perfume. Pistachio, bergamot is second. So there it is. It's very fresh. Almost gives it a somewhat citrus green, a little bit more green than citrus for me, but the bergamot's very noticeable in the top notes. Ice cream, rum, hazelnut, cardamom. I'm definitely, you get just a tiny bit of the cardamom. It has a tiny bit of like warmth, a little bit of spice, but it's not super noticeable for my nose. The rum to me is not very noticeable either. I think a lot of times boozy notes like that kind of get lost when there's quite a lot of notes. This one does have a lot. So that was just the top notes, y'all. Middle notes are more floral and more fruity. So in the middle notes, we have lily of the valley, peony, pear, jasmine, geranium, raspberry, and white peach. And I'm going to tell you from my perspective on this, the middle notes are the lightest part of this fragrance, and they're the hardest to discern. I don't really smell the florals and the fruits come through in this super strong. To me, when I've worn this, and it does have very good longevity, I would say the longevity on this is moderate to long, depending on your chemistry. Of course, there's going to be some out there where this fragrance just gets eaten up on them and they say, oh, it disappeared in 5 minutes. There's always going to be that. But for me, it was definitely a moderate to long longevity. But the middle notes, definitely that fruity floral mix in the middle is minimal. It doesn't last as long. The top notes really come out and play pretty hard for about an hour after me spraying this. They don't completely ever really go away. They're pretty present throughout the duration, but the bergamot especially settles down and you don't have quite as much of that juicy green bold burst of the bergamot coming through. The base notes are beautiful. I really will say that about this. I do love that dry down. It does have the whipped cream, the marshmallow, cotton candy, sandalwood, tonka bean, cedar, lucum, which is similar to Turkish Delight. It's a very, kind of powdered sugar candy smell. And cacao. I really don't pick up much of that, but that is listed last in the in the makeup. I don't get a bunch of chocolate in this at all. To me, the base notes, like the sandalwood, the tonka bean, the cedar, which are usually a little bit more warm and deep and heavy, they're not super, super strong. They add just enough base to this to keep it from being too thaky sweet. So I actually really enjoyed this. And I will say, when I put it on and I went out, I had lots of people coming up to me and smelling the back of my neck, like, what is that great smell? So it definitely does catch attention. It's not like everything else you've smelled, but there is one thing that it is like what I've smelled. So, you know, I have a very, very good scent memory. When I've smelled something before, if I smell something similar again, I am going to notice it. When I looked at some of the reviews on this perfume on like Sephora, Fragrance Net, I had a lot of people look like they were saying that they thought it smelled just like pink sugar. Well, I would agree, but not the original pink sugar. It smells almost identical in many ways to the pink sugar Sensual. This one is actually my favorite of the pink sugar flankers that was ever made. I really love it. I still have a full 1.7 ounce bottle of it. And there's something about it. Let me spray this on and compare. There's something about it has such a similar vibe for me. Yeah, because it has that sharpness in the front. I mean, it's not an exact duplication, but there are some things about it that come across so similar. Now, when it comes to the original pink sugar, which everybody probably has a big old bottle of this hanging around somewhere. I hardly ever wear this. It's usually I just use it as a room spray if I'm just really in the mood for that blast of like insane candy sweetness. The thing about this one that you're going to see, let me pull up the notes for this, and the reason that I think that people are seeing similarities between the Kayali and the original pink sugar are definitely that tonka bean sandalwood is in the base. The cotton candy, you know, scent is in there. There is that floral fruit in the middle note, and there is a lot of bergamot in the opening. So there are definitely a few similarities, and if you've noticed, you're like, oh, they smell similar, there's a reason for that. The biggest difference that I see from the Kayali pistachio and the pink sugar is the lack of the licorice note, because to me the licorice is very prominent in pink sugar. The other thing that I would say is pink sugar is just got such an overload of cotton candy. It is so, yeah, I mean, it's the original toothache in a bottle. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not, right? It's one of those crowd pleaser fragrances. You put this on, if someone gets a light whiff of it, they're probably going to think, no, that smells so nice. But if you're wearing it yourself, it gets a little much. That's at least for me. Like, I like smelling this on other people or catching a whiff of it in a room, but to have it on me for hours is a little like, woo, because it's a lot. So that's the biggest difference, I would say, between original pink sugar and the Kayali pistachio, is this is definitely not as much of a sweet bomb. Even though it is a very sweet fragrance, it has enough notes that offset it from being just a, you know, cotton candy roller coaster. The Sensual, you know, tapered that down a little bit. Yeah, and as it's drying down, I smell this even more. The Sensual has a little bit more of a shampoo vibe than the Kayali. That's what I like, was I get to test these side by side. The similarities, of course, another big juicy bold bergamot that come out in the beginning notes of this. Again, it has a lot of florals in the mid and that vanilla sandalwood in the dry down, but it's something that in the dry down it just ends up smelling very similar. But I am going to say, and this is good because I believe that this one was discontinued. The Pink Sugar Sensual is no longer. So I don't believe that you can even get this. If you get a bottle of it, it's probably going to be off of eBay or a secondary seller, because I'm pretty sure they discontinued that recently. So I will say that if I had to pick between these two, I do like the Kayali pistachio a little better. I think the quality of it is higher, it lasts longer, and it is more nuanced. The other thing that made me very excited about this fragrance when I first saw the details on it was that the main perfumer who helped develop this was Olivier Cresp, and he is a long-time amazing perfumer who has done, you know, probably his most famous to his name was that he helped create the original 1992 Mugler Angel. So that to me, you know, this is a guy that is going to throw a whole lot of notes in a perfume, which he definitely did with this one. It's going to be sweet, right? It's going to be there, but it's going to be kind of interesting. And that's why I think a lot of people are getting this and they're going, what's all these other notes in it? I expected it to be nothing but a whipped cream dessert. And they're getting, you know, the green, and they're getting the warmth, and they're getting, you know, a little spice, and they're getting a little bit more than maybe they bargained for. And so then they immediately have a bad reaction to it and just go, eh. It's kind of similar to what happened with Angel. This fragrance is nothing like Angel, but the way that it is similar, right? It's not at all that fragrance. But the way that it is similar is that it's a very sweet perfume, but it has a lot of interesting notes that do contrast the sweetness and make it, to me, more interesting, less linear, and more wearable ultimately, because it's not so much just, oh, it's another throwaway, you know, sweet candy scent, right? It's not in that realm. So I really am very excited about this perfume. I'm so happy that I was able to get the large bottle. The Kayali site did run a nice discount during that week when they were first releasing this, so I was able to get it for a little bit less. And no, this is definitely one that I would wear. It smells so nice. I would say it's good for, you know, pretty much any time of day or occasion. People will definitely like the way you smell. And unless you just hate it, you'll enjoy it. If you don't like things that have obviously a lot of sweet notes in it, if you don't like bergamot, this is a no. But otherwise, it's definitely worth a sniff. Definitely give it a shot because the longevity is great. I think it's a little bit more unique of a sweet perfume. The more it dries down, the more you like it. It really just rounds out. Like the punchiness of the bergamot starts to settle down tremendously. And it does smell just lovely. It really does. And the more that it's funny, I really had this thing where it's like, oh my gosh, it smells just like Pink Sugar Sensual. Now that I smell it side by side, you know, I don't feel like it does quite as much. It still has those similarities. But I like the Kayali more because it has a little more warmth. The sweetness is more creamy because of the whipped cream in it. And the pink sugar smells a little bit more like a shampoo scent comparatively, which is really interesting. The other perfume that people were mentioning along with it, because it does have such a strong pistachio note in it, is the Sol de Janeiro, the Cheirosa, the 62. And so people were saying that this was one that they, you know, kind of liked in contrast or comparison to the Kayali. Some people were saying they were layering this over it. I absolutely love this perfume, especially for the summer. It's always one that makes me feel good, puts you in a happy mood. Its longevity is not fabulous. Even though they call it an eau de parfum, it performs more like an EDT in my experience. But some people have said that, you know, they layer it over that and that it just makes it even nicer. So I believe it because it shares a few of the same notes. But this is a lot lighter, sweeter, more, you know, like a light caramel, honey, pistachio. It's delicious. It really truly is. It smells just like the Boom Boom cream that is, you know, super popular, and it just, anytime you smell it, it smells great. Oh yeah. No, you could blend these. Ooh. Oh yeah, I might be doing that, especially in the spring, you know, in the warmer spring and to the summer. Oh my gosh. Just leave me alone while I eat my arm now, y'all. No, these two are great together. If you were gonna, like, if you really wanted to oomph it up and even amplify the sweet power, those blend together nice. They really do. So Kayali, Yum Pistachio Gelato gets a 2 Dragon Claw up from me. I give it a 10 out of 10. Presentation is gorgeous. The bottle is beautiful. Feels fun to hold. It looks pretty on your dresser. It's a unique color. There really aren't that many, you know, green perfume bottles. It's refreshing to see one that isn't pink for once in a while, you know. Not that I have anything against pink, but it's nice to change it up. So go out, at least give it a sniff. I think it's definitely worth your time. All right, y'all. Thanks again so much for 500 subs. If you have thoughts, questions, comments about this perfume, or if you have ideas of other perfumes you would like me to try out, put it below in the comment box, and I will look forward to seeing you again very soon. Take care, y'all.